Innovation, excitement, and most of all, a focus on safety have long been signs of the aviation business as a whole. Wright brothers made the first flight, and now the planes we see today are technological wonders. As planes have changed over time, they've always been about pushing the limits even further. When this history is taken into account, the most recent worries about the brand new Boeing 737 MAX are even more worrisome. There have been major problems with the Boeing 737 MAX since it came out, which has made people both inside and outside of the flying world look twice. This is true even though the MAX is supposed to have cutting-edge technology and work better. To begin, when the 737 MAX was first shown off, it was seen as a big accomplishment for Boeing. The Boeing 737 MAX is the fourth model of the 737 family. It was made to replace older models and uses less gas and has a longer range than those versions, so it gave planes the chance to save some money and made it possible for them to fly on new routes that weren't possible before. Even though it was advertised as the single-aisle plane of the future, the MAX sold very well at first because airlines wanted to replace their old fleets. That being said, the fun didn't last for long. Not long after it was first released, which was not long ago, stories started coming out that were not good about its maneuvering abilities. The Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MKS, was first added as a safety measure to fix an issue with the plane's tendency to tip over in some situations. The MKS seems to have had the opposite effect in some situations. It would push the nose down, sometimes hard, which would put the pilots in a dangerous tug-of-war with the plane's self-driving systems. It would do this instead of keeping the plane steady. Everyone realized all of a sudden how bad things really were. Following two different but equally terrible tragedies involving the Boeing 737 MAX, Flight 610 of Lion Air and Flight 302 of Ethiopian Airlines, there were strange similarities between the two events. Soon after takeoff, the pilots had a hard time keeping control of their planes as they continued to fall to the ground. This led to terrible crashes that killed hundreds of people. The first test showed there was something wrong with the MKS, which was one of the causes. There were shockwaves in the flying world because of these events. They were worried about the safety of the plane right away, but they also had doubts about the reliability of Boeing's building and testing methods as a whole. How did something with such a clear flaw get through all the strict testing and approval steps that planes usually go through? Also, claims quickly spread that Boeing may have left out or greatly simplified some of the information about the MKS system from its training and documentation, leaving pilots untrained to handle failures. Regulatory bodies around the world were putting more pressure on Boeing to ground the 737 MAX because they were worried about its safety. As a general matter, this precautionary grounding was just a show of care. In reality, it had big effects on airlines' operations and finances. Companies that had put a lot of money into the 737 MAX soon found that their fleets had to be stopped, their schedules had to be changed, and their customers were let down. Everything that looked like the promise of a better time for air travel was gone quickly. As for Boeing, the company worked quickly to fix the issues. The MCS has had program updates to make it less likely that it will have any problems. New training methods have been made to better equip pilots with the knowledge and skills they need to deal with unexpected system behaviors. Even with these attempts, it would take a long time and be hard to win back the public's trust. Boeing was in a tough spot because of the Senate hearings, the heavy media scrutiny, and the strong feeling of betrayal from loyal customers and partners. Many things are affected by the 737 MAX mess on a larger scale. Without a doubt, automatic systems make things safer and more efficient. But this event shows that putting too much trust in automation in the aviation business could be dangerous. They should be clear and open, and they should be made to help people make decisions, not take their place. The crash of a Boeing 737 MAX is a sobering example of how important it is to keep the right mix between people and automated systems in the cockpit. But one must be very careful when approaching it. Furthermore, the event shows how crucial it is for companies to uphold their honesty. It makes people wonder how companies can manage the need to come up with new ideas and stay ahead of the competition with the need to keep workers safe and make sure that they act in an honest way. In a world where the next big thing is always around the corner, this story shows how dangerous it is to cut corners and put short-term gains ahead of long-term trust and safety. The next big thing is always just around the corner. As a turning point in modern flight history, the problems with the Boeing 737 MAX are still being talked about. Since this happened, carriers have had to look over their arrangements with different manufacturers again. Throughout the history of aviation, airlines have relied on aircraft makers, especially big names in the field like Boeing, to make machines that are not only technologically advanced, but also, and this is very important, safe. The problems with the 737 MAX, on the other hand, have broken this trust, which is why airlines are now looking for more openness and participation in the whole process of building and buying planes. The situation with the Boeing 737 MAX showed the difficulties of certifying foreign planes for the different governing bodies. Now that the world is so connected, when a big aviation authority makes a choice, it might have an impact on more than one region. The fact that China's Kayak was the first regulatory body to ground the 737 MAX and then other groups did the same shows how interconnected current flight safety rules are. There were worries about how independent these groups are from the companies they watch over because of these events. This led to discussions about whether the process for getting certification should be changed. Amid all the fuss about the 737 MAX, even pilots were stuck in the middle. People had always respected pilots for their skill and good sense. Suddenly, though, they had to deal with an aeroplane that sometimes made it look like their decisions weren't the best ones. This not only caused instant problems with operations, but it also started a larger discussion about the role of the pilot in a world where flight is becoming more automated. It looked like the passengers were about to have an existential crisis when they thought about the connection between the pilot and the plane, which they'd previously seen as a cooperative partnership. It was unpleasant to learn about the people who ran the airline business, the reason for their work, and the 737 MAX's history. Even though it has a lot of problems, flying has been shown to be one of the best ways to get around. Even the tiniest chance that an airplane might be hiding a major flaw is enough to shake the trust that supports this connection. Getting the customers to trust the train again will take a lot more than just fixing equipment. It needs a clear show of dedication to safety and a firm commitment to open conversation with people who are not directly involved. The ongoing drama involving the Boeing 737 MAX has effects on the business world as a whole. Companies in all fields can learn from Boeing's problems in this day and age of fast technological progress. That's not just the airline business that's having trouble finding the right mix between new ideas and safety, between market needs and moral obligations. The auto industry is trying to use self-driving technology, and the healthcare industry is trying to figure out how to use AI to make predictions. Both of these fields are facing the same problems. These are the problems that everyone faces when they try to use cutting-edge technology in real-world uses. After the Boeing 737 MAX crash, competitors in the airline business were closely watching what was going on and changing their plans to place themselves in a better position. At the moment, Airbus is the leader in this very competitive market. European plane makers now have an alternative to the A320neo. The updated version of the classic A320 was made with the same goals as the 737 MAX, to give airlines a more fuel-efficient form of a successful plan. The design of the improved form of the classic A320 was based on the 737 MAX. Customers all over the world have been happy with the A320neo. Its fuel efficiency is thanks to new engine technology and bigger improvements in aerodynamics. Airlines are looking for alternatives to the troubled American planes, which led to more orders for Airbus. At the same time, Boeing was busy dealing with problems with the MAX. Airbus was lucky with the way things turned out. Every news story about the problems with the 737 MAX makes the A320neo look even better. Thanks for watching this video.